As I took on the role of Tornado Hunter's Hunter, I met an individual who, although they did not have a copy of the song, was fantastic to talk to and very helpful. And they actually animated the VeggieTales Harlem Shake. And I mean, when you animate the VeggieTales Harlem Shake, naturally, I have to interview you. So here is a fantastic interview with a fantastic anonymous individual.
If you love your veggies and want more to know, then I've got for you a spectacular show. We be giving the facts of this lyrical rhyme and bringing in guests quite a lot of the time. If you search for your hairbread like cheeseburgers too, then I'm happy to say we got a show for you.
I am Finnegan Rowe. I am here today with a good friend of mine, Anonymous Source. How are you doing, Anonymous Source?
Great today. Just had a bath.
I just had a bowl of ground up maize,
Yes.
corn. I didn't know what grits were. We were sitting down talking. I'm eating grits, and Anonymous Source goes, "What are grits even made of?" And I said, "I don't know." And I looked it up, and it's like corn and what was it, like fermented corn or whatever,
Yeah, I
the
mean,
hominy
I thought it,
stuff.
I honestly thought it was dirt. But you guys eat,
Just a big old bowl of dirt.
as far as I'm concerned, everything is either post-apocalyptic Twinkies or peanut butter.
Post-apocalyptic Twinkies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be down for a
Mhm.
post-apocalyptic
I mean,
Twinkie.
every zombie movie, they go for the Twinkies because they just last, right?
Well, I was told that regardless of who wins the election, we're gonna have World War III and an apocalypse. So,
Uh-huh.
we might end up with some post-apocalyptic Twinkies now.
But we actually have some in our country, so I think we'll be prepared to.
Perfect. If not, I'll send you a
We
shipment.
have an American section, so then they always have Twinkies and like wagon wheels or something.
Is it called American Novelties?
It's just literally like American fiction.
I love that. Well, if the apocalypse strikes, I'll send you a box of Twinkies and I'll send you a box of grits.
Yes.
Hey,
We're gonna talk, we're gonna shout.
I don't know with who and I don't know what about.
it will likely pertain to the random things I like. Plus, we'll do some funny voices and we'll yell into the mic.
Hey,
That's all we have to say. If you're listening right now,
then you're listening today.
Bum.
Okay,
Okay.
so, anonymous source, can you please tell me, when did you realize that animation was your passion?
You mean how did I get into it at all?
More so, when did you decide that that was what you wanted to
Ah,
do as a career? Like, when did you think,
right.
okay, that's what I'm going to be, when I grow up, or that's what I'm going to go into now?
My parents always go, "Oh, you should make Shrek," and that was just because I drew pictures in 2D. Apparently, that means 3D. So they got that idea into their heads, and they were actually the ones that sent me. They said, "Hey, you should go do animation," because I just finished an animal course, like playing with horses and stuff. And I thought this actually isn't that fun. And then they said, go do animation. So, and here's the college, go there. Well, okay, if I have no other plans, I was just flipping sheep. It's pretty much all we did at the animal course. Like, this is not my life. So, yeah, I just went to I actually applied to the course with sexy lady pictures. So what the requirements to get into the course were, for some reason, you had to prove that you could draw. I'm not really sure why. And my flatmates asked me to do pencil drawings of these sexy lady pictures he had. So I was like, all right, I'll do that. And then it turns out that was my best art. So this was a Christian college, and I applied with two sexy lady, really well drawn pencil pictures, and an anime guy wearing boxers. And he was like, I'm unsure of what exactly you are, but you can come in and okay, cool.
You should
So
frame those pictures. They were kind of your entrance into the industry.
I do actually still have them.
I think I saw at least the one of them. They were well drawn. You,
Yeah,
you did a good job on
yeah,
them.
people go, yeah, the shading's good, but uh,
But the subject matter is questionable.
a little bit odd, yeah.
I love that. It being a Christian college makes it even funnier. A pastor slash professor looks at the picture and goes, "Oh my, well,
I mean, they
well."
kept them for a long time. I didn't
Hmm.
get them for like a year later because I had to send in the physical copies for some reason, and I was like, "Can I please have this back?" Like, oh, yeah.
They're like, "Oh, we have to research it a little bit more. We're gonna hold on to it for now." That's wild.
It was my parents that sent me there, not me. I had no idea.
Interesting. So before college, your parents kind of encouraged you to look into that.
Yeah.
What once you got to college and you start kind of, experimenting and animating, was there a moment when you realized, okay, my parents made a good decision. This is what I want to do?
I think it was after. So what they do is they teach you a little bit about everything. Um, and I think we got to the point where we learned how to model averagely and put like skeletons and stuff. And then, because I love like music and dancing and stuff, and I made a like a drummer animation. It's really terrible, but seeing them move, I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. I didn't realize at the time that I was because of the animation. I thought it was just the general 3D is cool. But yeah, that would be the first time where I realized this is super cool that like I can create anything.
There's just something about taking, a stagnant image and making it move. It's just too cool.
Yeah.
Too
Yeah, like, yeah,
cool.
we can move things. So it's so cool. Yeah, and even we were doing 2D as well. Just like I can create anything. I can edit pictures. Like the world just like blows up when you realize what you can actually do.
Yeah, there's no end to it.
No,
A lot
I
of different
even use it
avenues.
today.
Post college, I guess. Um, you kind of realize what you want to do, then you get to college and you think, okay, this is definitely what I want to do. And naturally after college you'd be pursuing a job, a gig in the industry. What was your first job in the animation industry?
Oh, it was my internship, I suppose, animating Zip and Neck. It's essentially like an educational thing for kids. With there's a frog and a dog, and those two are 3D, and then the other ones are all like random 2D creatures. And I ended up so there's actually two modes of animation, and stepped mode is like when things like you press play and it just flicks through lots of pictures, so there's no in between animation.
Mhm.
And I wasn't because I was such a noob. I wasn't really good at timing with that, and for my test, I did stepped animation on something. And then, smoothed it out, pressed play and realized, oh crap, my animation doesn't fit in the time. Like you can't physically do what I've just done in real time. So I had to tell my soon to be boss that like I can't actually complete the animation that I've given to him. So I had to redo everything. But
Oh, dang.
luckily, so I changed the animation off, like, because you have to send in a blocking pass and then get that approved. So I approved my blocking pass, and then, yeah, when I went to actually animate it, I realized this is not gonna work, and that was horrifying because, like, I'm doing a test right now, and I've just failed it. But then, luckily, he let me change what I was doing, and he said, "Oh, this isn't great, but I can see potential, so you can come work for us as a noob." So that was unpaid, but I would say that's technically my first animation in the industry.
Interesting. So I want to show a clip of Zip and Mac here for the people who aren't familiar with the show. I saw a clip from it, and I swear it looks like a thing I've seen before, but I'm sure I didn't grow up on it. Here it is.
Hello, everybody. I am Zip, and this is my best friend, Mac.
So following Zip and Mac, what happened?
We pretty much just went straight into VeggieTales. And I'm pretty sure Tornado Hunters was my first actual VeggieTales animation.
Which is
Um,
a crazy thing.
but yeah, like my times get a bit screwed up because we, as you know, it wasn't released until that it wasn't intended to be released until a bit later. So I can't remember which show that I actually started on first. Was Penniless before Popstar or after?
Popstar was first, and then
Oh, yeah, that would be it then. Right, right, got it. So Popstar was that's why I love it so much. Time gets me totally mucked up because they all kind of blend into one time-wise for us.
yeah,
So I did, yeah, I must have done that one first, and then went on to Popstar after that. So it is like a straight in. And it's not super hard with no limbs. to be honest. So,
And you did the butterfly net part, right? Where he blows
yeah,
through the screen. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Phenomenal piece of animation. I'll show that here as
I
well.
know, it's the best.
Go into this room in the center of the house.
Grab your butterfly net.
Do not grab your butterfly net.
I do want to touch on Tornado Hunters. For those who don't know, um, I looked for the song for years, so I'm going to assume most of the people listening to this podcast found me from the VeggieTales channel. But if you're new here, or it's 10 years in the future and you're coming back and watching some old stuff I made and you don't know about VeggieTales, um, which is unlikely, but if that is the case, Tornado Hunters, a lost VeggieTales song, a silly song segment. A little bit of footage got leaked a while back, so we knew it existed, and I made it a goal of mine to find it. I looked for a long, long time. Finally, I find anonymous source because I'd been actively searching for people, and I almost just kind of ran into anonymous source here and said, "Whoa, hey, how are you doing? Know anything about Tornado Hunters?" And anonymous source was like, "Yes, I animated on Tornado Hunters, but we probably could never release that." And I'm like, "Okay." But see, now I've got to get it. So it was a seamless transition, a long discussion, and a lot of work on both of our ends, and together
Uh-huh.
we were able to shake hands and say, "Look what we did," because now it's out there, which is a huge deal. And anonymous source here also single-handedly animated the VeggieTales Harlem Shake. Phenomenal piece of animation. It's funny because Lost Media, we all look for Lost Media. No one knew what that was, so I dropped that on my YouTube channel, which also that took probably more convincing than Tornado Hunters, right? That was
Yes,
riskier to get out. That was tough.
because it's
Um,
not even on the scale of allowed generally.
It was, yeah, a lot of people keep asking how this all came about, and I really can't say much, nor do I want to say too much, aside from it was a process. It was a long process with a
Uh-huh.
few, honest loopholes. An honest loophole is what I'd call it. A few honest loopholes got worked. A lot of hard work once again on both of our ends to get that out. But more so on yours because you made the animation. And when I dropped that on my channel, people didn't. They were like, what is this? Where did this come from?" And I'm like,
I mean, it's real. Actually, I haven't even told the people that helped me with that it's out.
Oh, you should let them know. You should
Yeah,
let
I
them
really
know.
need it because everyone's been wanting it to be out. But yeah, I ran into them recently, and they're like, "Man, I wish we could release that." And like, oh yeah, I should probably tell you that we did.
Perfect timing too to run into them after it got
Uh-huh.
released. Give them a call and be like, "Hey, guess what? Phenomenal, phenomenal gag. I think they should have worked that into the show, but
Uh-huh.
following VeggieTales, you started with Tornado Hunters. I guess last one you worked on would have been the Noah's Ark special with
Yep.
the freaky Netflix designs.
Uh,
Um,
yep.
VeggieTales was that was about all Who had for a while, right?
We had a bunch of really random, tiny, strange shows. Like File Zero, some like apocalyptic Christian knowledge something show. Everything is like dark green,
Mhm.
gray, weirdness. That one has been released. There's Peekaboo, which doesn't exist anymore. Some Chinese thing about kids, like you can get dirty and it's okay, kind of show. One with a bunch of random weird Kiwi, New Zealand, I should say, uh, creatures like a baby bottle, a teddy bear doing random stuff in mazes. It's kind of out there weird stuff.
So I
We had
guess the
those keep it in between.
the biggest, most substantial thing, I guess, would have been VeggieTales, right? That would
Uh,
have been
yeah,
kind of the I guess main project. Would you say without VeggieTales, Who couldn't have kept making animation? Was VeggieTales kind of like their steady, you know?
yeah. I mean, we called it bread and butter, to be honest.
I know whenever I reached out about Tornado Hunters, you were like, VeggieTales archivists exist? There are people who care about this? And it's like, yeah, here in the States, it's a humongous explosion of a franchise, especially back in the day. Um, so following VeggieTales, uh, I guess Who kind of started to wrap up.
Well, there was one big thing, which was Mosley. That was because we had Kobe working with us on VeggieTales, and he had that movie. I think he's had it for maybe 10, 15 years, just trying to, he's just wanted to release it. It's even voiced by his kid when they were young enough to have the perfect voice. So they actually recorded all the kids' audio, which they can't do now because the kid's grown up, so they sound different. But that was the other big main drive to try and get a movie out, which unfortunately coincided with COVID, and it kind of that was probably the ending, really, because there was no VeggieTales to kind of fill in any holes while they were trying to do that one.
So when VeggieTales came back following the Netflix show, when they went back to the original designs, was there any talk about working on it again? No.
I heard nothing. I think they were just trying to survive on just random scraps, I suppose. But nah,
That's too
I
bad.
heard nothing really.
See, so
They
had
did
they
try and call us back. Well, after VeggieTales ended, they tried to call us back for Mosley, but some people were a bit too far away, so a lot of the original team wouldn't have come back anyway.
That's too bad because 2019 they bring back the original designs for VeggieTales.
I know.
Had they contacted HuHu, not only would you all have had 26 new shows to work on,
Mhm.
the animation would have looked 10 times better. It would have been a
Yeah,
win-win. But nope,
they might have got another Harlem out of it as
yeah,
well.
that would have been great. But nope, they went down a cheaper route. They found like a animation company that just cranks stuff out real fast and is kind of notorious for making stuff really fast. Um, So that's too bad. That's too bad. Who was phenomenal. Everything that the company put out was great, thanks to people like you who cared
Yep.
about it and knew what you were doing. Um, and I can pick out the stuff you made now whenever I watch those, that batch of episodes. I go, oh, anonymous source worked on that. I can tell.
That
I can tell.
yeah.
Um, so as Hoo wrapped up VeggieTales, you find out they're moving to Netflix. They're going with the Rick and Morty animators, the Bardell stuff, and the company starts to close down. What led you to Weta? Was that on the back burner, ready to go, or did you have like a period in between of looking?
Well, my partner actually got a job before we moved out of the area where his was. Um, there's very limited proper companies here to even go for. So where it was like, well, we'll just move there and kind of see what happens, see
Mhm.
what sticks. And luckily, one of us had a job lined up there, and then I just kept trying to apply and then hope that I landed something and ended up in layout. Not quite where I was hoping, but it's something. Didn't really matter.
Layout's cool. I mean, layout's important. To make the final product, you got to have layout.
Yeah, I mean, all those rocks and trees that you see, we painted those.
Nice. So, what were some of your first projects at Weta?
Alvin and the Chipmunks, the road trip. That was the first one.
That was
Not
Weta?
particularly glamorous. Yeah,
What?
was. I
Oh,
even have a t-shirt of it.
I had no idea. Wow.
A lot of the shots I kind of did in the sense that I pulled in the puppet and T-pose and put it in there. So if you see a chipmunk in a shot, it was probably me.
Interesting. I had no idea. See, now I feel bad
Yeah.
because I grew up watching the Chipmunks movies, and that one came out just as I'd kind of quit watching them, and I never saw that one. I saw the first three a dozen times each, and then that one, there was kind of a space in between, and that one came out a few years later, and by that point I was kind of like not watching animated movies as much. But now I've been
Mm,
watching them again, of course, now I watch
yeah.
them all the time. But I never saw that one. I'm gonna have to
Well, now
watch
you
it
have a
now.
reason to watch it.
Yeah, there we go. There
But
we go.
you can't really tell what I did. My stuff was more just setting up shots, really. And there's quite a few of them, so it's just put in, um, press button, move on to next one.
Yeah, but if, nobody did that, then there would be no chipmunks in the shot.
This is
So,
true. I mean, it's the same with VeggieTales. Like, it will take you days and days just to get all the characters and the right scene, the right focal length, all the right sets. It's insane.
yeah, it's a process. Got to have every single
Mhm.
person on that team doing what they're doing to make it
Yeah.
happen. So don't discount the layout. Layout's important, and
No,
I
it
mean you
is.
you made that movie. You made that movie.
I did.
So what else happened at Weta? You got the Chipmunks movie, some involvement with the Planet of the Apes.
That was my big one. I did do some vague stuff in the BFG. And then Apes was one of my, probably my last really big one. Uh,
BFG, I
and
forgot about BFG.
yeah, yeah.
That was a good one.
That was mainly just it's hard to explain what the job is. You just end up matching certain things or just pressing play a lot
Hmm.
for that one. Because a lot of it was mocap, so we didn't really have that much to do with it. So everything was just already in there. Whereas apes, we were like building rock piles, and like putting all the apes in there ourselves and stuff. I had to make some set pieces out of random junk that we have because they keep everything. So they're like, right, make a totem. Find bones. Don't care where they come from, as long as they show specific bones, that's cool. And then I just had to just mash a bunch of things together to create essentially a free prop, which didn't really take much time. Which you don't even see. I've tried to find it. I cannot, but it is there.
Well, I'm sure if it wasn't there, like we said yesterday,
Yeah.
if it wasn't there, then you'd notice, you know?
Yeah, there's a lot of that stuff that unfortunately you don't see it, but if it's not there, you will see that it's not there.
I bet if you watched it on the big, theatrical screen, you'd notice it, you know? Just start pointing,
I
going, "Oh
mean,
my gosh, that's my tree! That's my tree!"
well, there's a lot of sneaky behind the scenes things that I know are there that no one else can see. Like when you put the puppets in, you can kind of pose a little bit, and that would kind of dabble in a little bit of animation here and there. Um, for the we call them dailies. So you do something and then you show the people what you've done, and they're like, "Cool, we're happy with that." So I do some sneaky things in the dailies that technically in the movie, but you can't see the real
Interesting.
animations like behind the scenes.
I've heard about dailies. I never knew what they were. I
Yeah,
never knew
it's
what that meant.
literally a daily meeting where you show all the stuff. Like we did that with VeggieTales, is that kind of similar, except you're not there. Um, you just send your stuff daily, and they'll review it daily. Whereas Weta is a bit different in that you physically have to be in the room, and we all kind of discuss it together.
So I guess with VeggieTales, the people from HuHu would send it to the people at Big Idea, and they'd watch it and get back to you.
Eventually has to go through the animation lead first, and then so we had dailies and weeklies for VeggieTales. So dailies was stuff that we did in-house so that we could put it all together to send out a weekly package. Since it's a big data dump, you've got to transfer a lot of data like to the US every week. So it's not like you could just do it on a whim. It was like a very planned thing.
Yeah. Interesting. So at Weta, I guess you got to be part of the dailies. You would meet with them
Yeah,
and watch it, or just send it out.
yeah, just your team. So it wasn't as big, I suppose, because like a lot of the stuff, it's more like, what would we show? Like, is this picture good? Like, are we happy with the moss that you have painted on this tunnel today? That kind of stuff.
Interesting. Okay. Would you say more often than not it was good to go, or was there a lot of redoing stuff?
Um, where you're supposed to submit good to go stuff. I mean, a lot of our stuff is so minuscule that it's kind of hard to say whether it's good or bad until you see it in the context with the characters,
Mhm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, it
So it's
does.
kind of like, yep, that's cool, and then you might get some um feedback later saying, oh, actually, this doesn't quite work with what we've had. So could you adjust that?
Interesting.
And
Okay.
sometimes you have to disappear an entire rock pile because the layout is kind of like a set in itself, and um, animators are not supposed to randomly just disappear parts of the set when they need to. So things will come back to us and okay, we need to for this shot remove this pile of rocks because it's actually getting in the way of the composition of blah blah blah.
So from the movies you've told me about, you got the Chipmunks, you got BFG, you got Planet of the Apes. Is it safe to say that Weta specialized in like live action animation
Uh,
combination
we're
movies?
we're known for our monkey stuff. Like we even sponsor the zoo, because I believe they'd go to the monkey exhibit and like that's where they got a lot of their reference stuff from like watching the orangutans and chimpanzees and stuff that they have there.
Mhm.
So we're actually like a we have Weta passes for the zoo, so we can go there for free because they sponsor all the ape stuff there. They are well known for apes.
Interesting. So I guess Weta ever do any fully animated movies, like a Disney movie type of thing?
It's probably if they did, it would be before or after my time. I don't actually pay attention to what they're making these days.
I'm fascinated with Weta. I didn't look up as much about Weta as I did about HuHu.
Weta's a little bit harder to crack into since it's a big. I mean, we have um maybe 7 to 8 buildings that everyone works in, and that's just here.
Oh wow, it worked on
And these are like 2-story buildings um sometimes with two sections with bridges connecting them. Sometimes they just look like giant factories.
Did you ever get on Game of Thrones? You ever work on that?
No,
No.
I
It
think
looks like they were
my
working on that.
last the last thing I touched was I think it was Valerian.
Interesting. Yeah, they did the Lord of the Rings stuff too. How cool.
Yeah.
How cool. My character has been modeled by somebody who worked at the same company that made Lord of the Rings. How crazy is that? What a thought. What a thought. How crazy. Um, so at what point did you begin to kind of stray from animation into other career options? Was there a moment of burnout where you said, okay, you know what? I'm done dealing with, the day-to-day of
Box.
the industry. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Um, well, most of the staff are contractors, so you have a rolling contract. Usually it's like a year or two, and we
Mhm.
pretty much decided we should probably have kids. And I wasn't in the most high paying section of Widow, so I thought, oh, you might as well stay at home then. So my job just became take care of kids instead. So
Interesting.
it wasn't
So
exactly burnout, but I wasn't exactly fighting to stay in either.
got you. So it wasn't as much burnout as it was time to start a new chapter.
Yeah, and they don't expect everything to be fun. Um, but this wasn't particularly inspiring. Like when I say I've spent hours clicking the rock rush, I got a little bit bored of just doing that, and it's a bit hard to kind of move around and like who knows? I was a rigger, I was a modeler, I was an animator. I probably could have been a lighter if I had the skills for that, but with it doesn't really let you kind of move around like that. So you're kind of stuck where you are, unless you get super lucky.
Hmm. So how did the experience working at Weta differ from working at HuHu? Would you say you had a little bit more freedom on the veggie stuff?
It's cliche, but I would say HuHu's was more like family. Like everyone was just like we all just helped each other out. Yeah, you also felt like you actually mattered, I suppose. You weren't really a cog, you were like an actual really important team member just
Mhm.
because it was so small. I mean, there's like maybe 30 of us, I think, versus a few thousand in Weta. And I
Yeah.
suppose you also the animation side, you kind of see instant results, whereas in layout, you won't see what you've done, maybe even until the actual movie's out, and even then you're like, which shot was that? What did I do there? I'm not really sure.
Yeah, so HuHu, I guess, felt more rewarding, like you could put more of
Yeah,
yourself into it.
yeah, and like you could say like maybe in a month you could have maybe 5 moments where someone said, "Wow, you did a really cool thing there," whereas whether it might be once in your career, you're like, "Wow, you lit that thing, and we're gonna use that because that's awesome." So the difference is kind of a bit big there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, your work on HuHu definitely reached a lot of people, a lot of, oddballs like me. Um,
Yeah, I mean, it was wonderful. Just like I get to choose because they're fairly loose, but we had specific beats that you've got to hit, of course. But within those, there's so much wiggle room to just add your own like character. Like I can pretend that Junior's got thumbs, and I'm gonna make him pull on his bag straps. That wasn't in the storyboards, but I'm gonna do that because that's something I would do. Whereas Widow, it's more like You just produce the thing they have asked, and that is what you will do.
They kind of maybe watch you a little closer and make sure everything's
Yeah,
perfect. Yeah, not really any room to kind of do your own stuff.
enough. Not really, no.
See, I feel like I get that, because if you're running a big company with a couple
Yeah,
thousand employees, you want to keep it uniform. But at the same time, I mean, content is so much more interesting when you let people do the type of stuff you want to do and be creative with it? So much
yeah.
more
I,
interesting that way.
I suppose also we have to keep in mind that the movies are a lot bigger, and also um what you do in one department will have a huge ripple effect in every other department. And
Yeah.
that's a lot of people if you change one thing or you screw up one thing. And they even have to ask permission to do so many things. Like just to change a single piece of an environment will actually ripple. Like it could take days to fix something like that if you do something wrong. Whereas VeggieTales, it was more of a, oh, I'll just like flick that back, and but I could even fix it kind of thing. I don't have to email someone and say, this is the problem I've just created. Can you please tell this person, this person, this person, and this person? And then they're getting like you get 300 to 400 at least emails a day at Weta.
Oh, wow.
This is almost none at HuHu's, to be honest. So you can kind of see the difference in scale there. And whenever you're sending an email, you have to like there's a list, like you have to CC in these 5 people and this person, even though it's not actually related, but they need to know what you did so that we can track it if something's gone wrong.
Dang. Yeah, I didn't think
Yeah,
about that. The
yeah.
ripple effect. That is interesting because I guess what you do in the layout department, like we said earlier, directly affects what they do in the animation
Yeah.
department and then the lighting department. Yeah, I didn't think about that. I guess that makes sense, but still, there is a charm to seeing people add their own creative touch to stuff,
Yes.
you know.
I mean, I have seen a few. I remember an intern. Um, they were just trying out lighting one time, and they just did like a practice lighting shot. And I remember them coming and going, the big people, they love my lighting. It's gonna be in the movie. I get to do this. Like, oh, that's so cool. So it does happen, and I couldn't tell you which part of it they did, but they know that stuff does happen every now and then.
Yeah. Yeah, probably not as often as a smaller company like HuHu, but
Yeah,
yeah. That's pretty cool. Um So, following our big tornado hunters hunt, I know you've been doing a bit more, modeling and animation, your own creative stuff, I guess maybe more along the lines of HuHu than Weta.
yeah.
Um, as you dive back into the industry, even on a recreational level, what knowledge do you pull from your time at HuHu and Weta that helps you in what you want to do currently?
Ah, almost everything to be honest. Because luckily, like I said, at HuHu's, we got to dabble in almost every aspect of creating something from start to finish. So I learned even things like screen flow for layout because you have to make sure everything's on the right side.
Mhm.
Um, good storytelling, how to set things up, the different stages, how everything works, even pipeline stuff. Um, yeah, like even though even I'll even do videos for my kids. I will film a silly truck race or something, and I use pretty much all my skills to just make my kids have magical videos for like that. Make the truck video, make the truck video. So yeah, they just expect me to be able to make anything.
Honestly, there's probably no better use for a skill like that than using it to make people happy.
Yeah, and they even they'll say make me a game because you can animate things. Like that's not quite the same, but yeah, that's not my forte, unfortunately.
No.
Um, I do disappear people from photos, put the kids in lava, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so you do Photoshop too.
With our course, we started with matte painting. So it's essentially you have a photo that you are editing to make it look like something else. So I pretty much just crashed a spaceship into a giant gravel structure, I suppose, that like we just go out and take a picture and say, all right, you have to make this look real. So you had to use like clone stamping, like painting, like pretty much everything. Like they just kind of did a general teaching of how to use the basic tools of After Effects, Maya, Photoshop. Not really 2D stuff. so much. But yeah, we just had a general like just learning how to use the program to begin with was valuable because if you have your own time, you can kind of sit and go, all right, I want to learn actually how to do clone stamping because I already know all the buttons to use for it, like how to control the program. So then you just kind of choose what you want to delve into, really.
Clone stamping's interesting. Another one of those terms I've heard, kind of like grits. Another term
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
heard of and thought about, but never actually thought about what it is and what it means. Um, Clone stamping's definitely beyond my current, you know, portfolio. And it's funny, our avatars, I think, kind of properly represent where we are in the
Mhm.
animation field. Mine looking
Yep.
like a, very, very basic plastic cat, and yours looking like a very polished DreamWorks cat.
Well, if you got good at clone stamping, you could be as 3D as I am.
That's all it takes. Just got to get good at clone
Yep, pretty
stamping, and I'm.
much.
So for the people listening who are looking into animation, looking into character design, and looking into the type of stuff that you've done, what is one thing you've learned, just one thing, through HuHu, through Weta, through your recreational stuff that you say, oh my gosh, I wish I'd known this before. Every young animator needs to know this.
I thought about this and I thought I could give a like a generic answer, but I've realized uh through all this hunting for old stuff is keep your old stuff. Like it doesn't matter how horrible it looks, you will miss it. Like this stuff I wish I still had from when I was learning, and then you look back at it and go, ah, that's where it came from. Or I remember that. That was then you just because it kind of keeps your passion going, to be honest, because like you were asking about burnout. Uh, to sometimes to get yourself back in, you see what you used to do and go, yeah, I know that's horrible, but I remember what I felt like when I made that, and it was so amazing. And it's just fun, like, hey, look, do you remember this thing? And you like it connects you back with all your friends, or your work colleagues, everything. So keep your old stuff. Like,
I
yeah,
can
that's
I
pretty
can
much it. Just keep it.
I can get behind that.
Yeah.
I bought a hard drive recently and backed everything up. And see, if you didn't believe that, then we would not have Harlem Shake. What a crazy thing to happen. And what a process it was. Honestly, I think we could have talked 4 hours just about how that all went down because
Yeah.
it was such a thing. It was a roller coaster ride making that happen. And had we not, you know, been in sync and made that happen, it wouldn't have happened. Had either of us given up or fallen out of
hmm
line even a little bit, I think it would have not happened. So I'm happy that it did. Um, so this is nothing to do with animation, but it is plenty to do with creativity. You're writing a book and it's really freaking good. Um, how much can you tell us about that?
I mean, I'd say it's maybe halfway done, but it essentially started from a dream I had about my grandparents. For some reason, there was fire involved, camper van, because pretty much toured for the last 20 years, in a camper van around New Zealand.
Mhm.
So obviously that was a big thing for me because we didn't get to talk much unless they were in a place with reception. And yeah, I just had a dream about them randomly being pelted by fireballs from the sky, and I thought, oh, that's kind of a cool short story. So I'll write a short story about that. And then my partner was like, hey, maybe you should make like a full-on novel from that. I thought, oh, for sure. I'm kind of okay at writing. Maybe just see if I can expand upon it. And turns out it's actually it might actually be kind of brilliant. I'm not sure though.
I think it's great. I read it. I couldn't put it down. Um, I was actually in the car. I wasn't driving, mind you. That don't recommend reading a riveting novel and driving at the same time. But
No.
I was in the car, and typically in the car I try not to look down because I'll get road sick. But I forgot about being road sick because it was so good. I just kept reading it. Um, it picks up fast. It doesn't
Yeah.
drag like some stories do. I love it. Um, you
Yeah, I
do
mean,
it.
with
You do it
writing,
when you
I've
finish it,
found
right?
that you have to kind of pull your experiences to really make characters believable. Or for me, at least, anyway. So
Yeah.
my grandparents are actually like I write as if the grandparents in it are my grandparents, which was kind of fun.
Well, they were likable grandparents in the book, so I bet they're great in real life
Yeah.
too. You do intend to finish it, right? It will
Yes.
get fully written. Okay, okay.
As if
Um, Don't burn out on that, because if I don't
No.
find out, burn out, no pun intended. No one knows what the book's about, so no one else will get that.
But
Um,
I actually had it. I started writing it while I was doing VeggieTales actually, so it's pretty old.
oh wow,
Yeah.
so like a decade then, right?
Yeah, I mean I should have probably been further along with it than I am, but again, looking back at all my old stuff, reinvigorated. So I probably, I mean, I've promised to people now that I will finish it, so it will be finished.
Well, there we go. And I'm one of them. I'll hold you to it. Uh,
Yes.
I will be sad if I don't find out how it ends. 10 years, though. I mean, it takes a long time sometimes to write a
Mhm,
to write a good story, to make a good product. Sometimes you really have to just spend a long time doing it. You can't give up.
mhm.
I mean, I was at a point where I would try to crank out stuff fast, and there's one project I've been working on for 2 years now, and I haven't even come close to finishing it. So to make your best work, sometimes it just takes that long.
Yeah, it does.
So even if it takes another 10 years, keep at it. Keep at it. So currently you're getting back into animating, you're getting back into modeling, you got your book writing going.
Mhm.
Um, Honestly, you could combine those. You could take your book and start animating it, make it into a show.
Oh, you know what? I kind of have a little bit. Uh, my mum made a book for one of my kids, and I actually have the 3D models of that, so I can probably animate the story that she wrote for us. Um, the like the biggest dump truck.
Yeah, I saw that. That was good.
So I have all the characters modeled. They're all rigged. They're all ready to go. I've got the story,
The
so I
model
can
looked
actually
exactly
probably.
the model looked
Yeah.
exactly like the picture you sent me. You sent me the book to look at, and then you sent me the picture a while later, and I was like, oh my gosh, that looks exactly like the illustration. To be able to take a two-dimensional illustration and make it look 3D and that accurate to it. I mean, you took my character and you made him look amazing in 3D. Um, so that's a skill to have. And my character's not very what's the word? 3D friendly.
No.
Um, he's uh he's kind of one of those Nickelodeon looking characters where you kind of just don't know what he would look like 3D, because nothing would really work if he was 3D. And somehow you took that and made him work without having to do some crazy camera cheating. He just looks good. So that's impressive. Well, phenomenal work. Keep doing what you're doing. So cool to grow up watching your animation and then, get the chance to connect with you by luck and by dedication. I look forward to working on more stuff in the future. Digging up Harlem Shake Part 2.
Actually, what's the new meme? Is there a new dance meme that I keep up with
Um,
the
Shoot,
times?
there are so many of them. Shoot. There's a new
I
one
mean, I
every
missed the
week.
planking phase, unfortunately.
Like, yeah, hitting the gritty, flossing, uh,
Flossing.
flossing.
Can't really
How would
do
how would that
flossing
work
with the
though?
hands.
Yeah, that would be weird. Okay, well, thank you for joining. Now to the audience. I think you all have waited long enough. It is time to reveal the name of the anonymous source.
Okay, my name is.
Tornado hunters were we, tornado hunters were we. It took some work, but thanks to us, you can watch for free. For free, for free, don't need a DVD. It's on YouTube with lots of views, and you can watch for free.
Tornado hunters were we, tornado hunters were we.
With both our heads and message threads, we found a way to see. To see, tornado hunters for free. We put our heads together and now it's on your TV.